What's going on, everyone? So Austin Reaves had quite the breakout year, or I guess you could say like half a year, because he really emerged in that back half of last season, and then of course in the playoffs, and was phenomenal throughout. And in many ways was our most consistent player, you can make an argument, throughout the course of the playoffs. He was just fantastic and really just earned every penny that he just got in his new deal. He just signed a 4-year, $56 million deal, and I really do believe that that was a great price for Austin Reaves, considering he could have gotten 4 years like $100 million. And so the fact that the Lakers got him for basically half of that price is a huge win for them. And now they got him locked up for a long term. And I do believe he's going to have a very big role for the Lakers this upcoming season. I think on most nights, he's probably going to be the second option, and on many nights, the second best player. Because I really do believe that LeBron James is going to kind of take a step back. He's still going to go get his 20 plus. He's going to get his 28 and 8. It's just who LeBron is, right? And he's just that good. He's going to be able to get it. But I don't think he's going to try to overexert himself as much as he had to last season. I think that they ride heavily on Austin Reaves. I think you have Anthony Davis as, your number one option, and then Austin Reaves is going to very likely be the number two option on any given night, and very likely is the guy that closes down the stretch. So if he does those things, then he's definitely going to earn his money. But there's this kind of narrative going around that there's all this pressure on Austin Reaves because he finally got paid and he got this new contract. And I couldn't disagree more. One, this is a kid that went undrafted when he could have gotten drafted by Detroit and decided not to, just so he could go to the Lakers for the big bright lights and to prove the type of player he is and how good he is. And he did just that and was rewarded with the contract that, again, I fully believe he earned. On top of that, it doesn't get much more pressure filled than the playoffs where you're on the Lakers and you're supposed to win an NBA championship. Obviously, the Lakers didn't win the NBA championship, but they made it to the Western Conference Finals, and Austin Reaves was the guy closing down the stretch, especially in that Memphis series. He was the guy that the Lakers and LeBron James was giving the ball to and saying, go to work, kid, and he was going to work and just absolutely dominating. The other thing is, too, he didn't get a ridiculous contract. He got you can make an argument he got paid undervalue, right? He's only going to make about $14 million a year. So you're talking 4 years, $56 million. That budgets out to about $14 million a year. So again, if he would have gotten, say, 4 years, $100 million, well, yeah, now there's a lot of pressure because he's not a $25 million a year guy. He's probably like a 17 to maybe 18 million a year guy, right? Right now, from what we saw last season, just especially based on like the type of contracts that guys get, right? Like Austin Reaves is worth probably about the bare minimum 15 to 18 million range, and he's going to make 14 million a year. But if he got a contract that was 25 million, now he's getting all-star level money. So now there's a lot of pressure for him to have to perform to that level, to have to be that type of guy. And if he was the same guy he was last year, he's not worth 25 million. He'd have to greatly improve. But if he's just who he was last year and he doesn't improve at all, then he's more than worth that money. There is no pressure for him at this point. He already proved what he needed to prove. He got a contract. The contract isn't overvalued or overpaid. He's in about as good of a spot as you could be in for as least amount of pressure as possible. Also, he's in a position to where, because he's not LeBron James and Anthony Davis, he's going to get all of the praise when he plays great and none of the disdain when he plays bad. Austin Reaves is in the best position you could be in because he's not the guy. He's not even the number two guy. Depending on how big of a role D'Angelo Russell plays, he might not even be the number three guy at times. So when he goes off for 38 and 7 or something crazy like that, right? Like he's going to get praised like he is this incredible, just unbelievable talent, and give him an all-star, like all of that. And if he has a bad game where he goes off and underperforms and gives you 5 points one night, nobody's going to bat an eyelash. Nobody's going to blame him for a Laker loss or anything like that, right? Like, it's just not going to happen. You just don't usually blame the third, fourth guy. It's usually the big names, right? So Austin Reaves has no pressure in that regard. He has no pressure financially because he didn't get this like ridiculous bag to where now he has to live up to the hype. What pressure is there for him to deliver? Now, there is the possibility that he sort of regresses a little bit, or there's not really much improvement, right? But even then, like at 14 million, unless he drops to like under 10 point a game guy, which I don't see happening, as long as he's like a 15, 5-5 guy, he's worth more than his contract. So, like, and that's not even unlikely for him. This is a guy that was giving you, even with the not so great first half of the season, he still was averaged like 13 a game. So, like, you're not worried about that. He's still going to be the shooter that he is. So he's still going to be close to a 50, 40, 90 type player. So what more could you ask for at 14 million a year? Right? Now, again, is it possible that he's not this like huge, because people are expecting him to kind of continue and explode and be the guy we saw in the playoffs and be the Lakers' second, third best player every night, night in and night out, and just be him, right? And it is very possible that that's not the case, right? Like, teams are going to prepare for him now, right? Like, that's going to be something that happens now that wasn't happening before. Like, teams weren't game planning for Austin Reaves. They were game planning for LeBron James, Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell even, right? I mean, we heard Denver talk about how they game planned for D'Lo and he was a target. The Memphis Grizzlies did the same thing. The Warriors did the same thing. Like, those guys were on the scouting report. Austin Reaves was kind of the afterthought. But now, because of his performance, he's going to be on the scouting reports. So that means defenses are going to try their best to stop him and slow him down and make things difficult. I mean, I've talked about this before. Paul George has a great podcast on that, where he talks about how there's a huge difference from when you're just a guy that's out there and gets to play freely, it's easy to go drop 25. But all of a sudden, when your name's on the whiteboard and teams are coming after you, all of a sudden everything gets just so much more difficult. Not just that, but the NBA is also trying to eliminate a big part of Austin Reaves' game, which is just kind of creating contact, getting fouled, throwing the ball, the James Harden technique, right? Austin Reaves has done a very good job of kind of, mastering that. And they're trying to kind of eliminate that ability. So if that happens, how effective is Austin Reaves going to be? Now, he is smart enough and he is talented enough that I don't think it's going to be a huge hindrance, right? But that could be the difference between him averaging, say, 20 a game and 15 a game. Because he's not going to get the calls, or he's going to get some flopping technicals or whatever, right? Now, he made the adjustments in the playoffs, right? When the whistle dried up a little bit, he was still able to hit shots. He was still able to create. So, that's why I don't think it's going to fully impact him or fully affect him. But I definitely think it might be a little bit of an adjustment because he's kind of tailored his game to kind of finagling into the interior, getting into the paint, putting the guy on the hip, drawing the contact, and then hopefully getting an and one. That's kind of what Austin Reaves has done. But now, if you're not going to be able to do that, or it gets sort of, pick and choose, like one night this ref is calling it, the next night, like he might even have to adjust his game night in and night out, because just like when all new rules are implemented, kind of is a ref by ref basis. It's kind of a tricky fine line. Like, what is this? What is that? Right? So there is, again, to be fair, a Real possibility that Austin Reaves isn't the guy that many people believe he will be next season. I don't think that'll be the case because I don't think the Lakers are going to ask too much for him. Right? Like if the Lakers are expecting him to be like a 25-5-5 guy next year, then he's probably not going to be that. Could he? Sure, of course. But realistically, he's probably going to be closer to like a 15-5-5 guy, which is probably what the Lakers are expecting him to be because he is the third option. I just think on many nights he's going to be the kind of one, the B option to Anthony Davis's A option. But D'Angelo Russell could end up being that, right? And because he's a 50, 40, and 80 guy. So I do believe Austin Reaves has a good year. I absolutely believe that. And I do believe that he's going to only continue to improve to an extent. I don't think he's going to be a top 5 player in the league or anything like that at some point. One, his age. Two, he's not that good. But I do think, could he be an all-star level player, even if he doesn't make the all-star team, just because there's so many just guards in the West. It'd be very hard for him to make an all-star. Now, he will have the boost of the Lakers fandom, but still. But even if he's not an all-star, can he at least be an all-star level player? Can he be one of the snubs? Right? Like, if he's that, then, that's a home run for the Lakers at $14 million a year. I just don't see any pressure. Like, what pressure is there on him? He is in the best possible position he could be in. Because he's going to get all the glory when he's great. He's going to get none of the backlash when he's bad. And gets to just go out there and play his game. I think it's a great scenario for him. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think that, no, there is some pressure, you just got a new contract? Do you think, no? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments.